All right, turn to this page. This is called doing elimination, and I'm going to show you how incredibly fast this is, which is why we encourage you to learn it. If I'm going to solve this system, just means two equations, I'm going to look and see if anything would cancel if I would just add them straight down. I'll explain why you can add them straight down by doing this. Do you get if I had 2x equaled 8? Actually, that wouldn't be a great example of why you'd want to add. I'm gonna keep the adding part simple. X plus 2 equals 8. Do you get, if I wanted, I could add 2 to both sides, or I could subtract 2 from both sides? Do you get I can do that? As long as if I want to subtract 2 here, I just have to do it to both sides. All right, as long as you do it to both sides, it's okay. So like if I go back up in here, why can I do this? Because this whole side is being added to the left side, and this is equal to it, and it's being added to the right side. So that's why you can add them together. And the cool part is we set it up so those two would cancel. Do you get plus 4x and minus 4x will cancel each other out? They're gone. And look at how fast this is. Now I have my 8y and my 2y, and together that makes, well, you combine them. I don't want you to say add or subtract or you're going to get all confused. You combine the 8y positive and the 2y that is positive, and you combine them and you get 10y. And if I combine these, I know that means it's subtracting. But you can just use your calculator if you don't get it and put in 20 and minus 30. And yeah, in this case, when you combine them, you're subtracting, and in this case, when you combine them, you're adding. I know that messes with your head, but you have to understand that when I put these together, I get 10y. When I put these together, I get 10. No, negative 10. And the cool part is that in one step, divide by 10, divide by 10, now I got y equals negative 1, and I'm done. And that is way faster. Can you imagine how long it takes to graph these? In comparison, you could have graphed these. It would have taken you like 5 minutes to solve this one for y, solve that one for y, graph them, see where they cross. 5 minutes would have been lucky to do it in 5 minutes. I was explaining this as I went, and I did it in like 2 minutes. All right. So, Caden, now that I've got it down to y equals negative 1, what do I have to do to finish the problem? All right. So, tell me what to do. You are correct. All right, so I'm going to pick, it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick this one, negative 1. I'm going to put it right there. And then I get negative 4x, and then that's minus 2 equals negative 30. And, of course, you got to solve equations. From here, I got to trust that you know that you just add 2 and you divide by 4, and it's pretty easy from there. All right, so moral of the story. This new way called elimination. Make something eliminate. Will the x's eliminate this time? No, but what eliminates? The y's. Go ahead, add them straight down. When I say add them, I should say combine them. Because if there's a plus and a plus, you'll add. If there's a plus and a minus, combine them. If you don't know what this means, then just use your calculator and put in the negative 2 and the plus 4, because that is a positive 4, isn't it? Two x equals negative 2. That was fast. Mr. Nichols, tell me how to finish it.
You divide 2?
Yep. And x equals?
1. Negative 1.
Negative 1 is correct. See how fast that was? Do you agree that it's faster than graphing them? Yeah, it was way faster than graphing. To graph this, I would have had to solve both of them for y. You wouldn't even be done solving for y yet. And we already combined these together. These canceled. See how that happened? All right, on to this next one. Without my help, you should be able to solve this like fast. Do you see the thing that cancels? That's called eliminating. point. So, some kids are sitting there going, "What? But this in the past, this was a positive and a negative." You are correct. Those two don't cancel each other out. What? Okay, better erase it back if you canceled them out because those aren't opposites. So sometimes when the problems get a little harder, you have to multiply one of your equations by a negative to make the signs flip. Do you get, if I want to, I could multiply everything by -1 and this would change to positive and this would change to negative and this would change to positive. That's what happens if you multiply everything by a negative. Now cancel stuff out and do it properly. -6x and -6x don't cancel each other. Now that we multiplied everything by a negative there, now these two are opposites, and so 6 and the -3 makes 3y equals, and the 6 and, well, these get combined if you have to. Type exactly what you see on a calculator. 6, that's a positive. 6 plus 12, 18. I'm dividing in my head, both of them by 6, and I should divide like this, because otherwise I by accident said 6. The answer is 6. There we go. Who had y equals 6? Good. Now I know I have to trust that you know that this then goes in somewhere. I could choose that spot, and you'd be able to solve that for x. I'll finish it just in case you already did that. And this will be -6x plus 6 times 6 is 36 equals 6. And then I would subtract 6 from both. No, I would subtract 36 from both sides. And I would have -6x equals -30. And I would divide by -6. X equals 5. Final answer, 5, 6. See how I did that? Put the x in the first spot, put the y in the second spot. That is called solving by elimination. That's the last one. Your test will have some application problems. We still got to choose that. But we're coming up on the test. The test will be happening during this week. So, what do you have to know for your test? Well, one thing would be how to graph. I'm going to review that with you for a second. Everybody take a second and pull up graph paper on your iPad. I will also. Get graph paper up. I'll be checking for it. All right, while I walk around and make sure everybody knows how to put graph paper up, please graph this one. This is a typical test question. Y equals 2x plus 1. That's a slope and a y-intercept. And the other one, you'll have to solve. I made it easy, but I wanted to make sure you get, sometimes you have to solve them first before you graph them. Take a second, get those both to be solved for y, then graph them both. And I want to warn you, I think you need to go at least 7 squares in every direction. So make your graph big enough so you can go 7 squares out. Okay, the first part is the one that starts at 2. I really should have done it in red. I guess I'll take a second and go back and do it in red so that it's even color-coded. And then this other one, I'm dividing everything by 2. Y equaled 3x, and the 4 divided by the 2 is -2. So I start at -2. and I rise 3, and I run 1. I rise 3, and I run 1. Let me see if I can. I hope this hits. It does! It rises 3, and it runs 1, and it hits right there on top of that other red one. There's my red line. There's my black. Oh, that was a terrible line. That's pretty terrible still. There. And they crossed right there, which is at 3, 7. Did anybody get 3, 7 before I did? Sweet. So that's a reminder of solve by graphing. Then there was only one other kind. And I'm just going to remind you of that. And if you get this, you're at about 3/4 of the test. About 3/4 of the test is about solving by graphing, solving by substitution, that's the one I'm about to do, and solving by elimination, the one you just learned today. So there is a system of equations, and I'm going to show you solve by substitute. That goes in where y was. See, y is that. That goes in for y. 2 parentheses, 2x plus 1. And then this is just copying down. Equals, copy down, 6x, copy down, plus 4. And from there, it's just a basic solve equation. 2 times 2x, 4x, 2 times the 1 plus 2 equals 6x plus 4. Got 4x is the smaller one. I get rid of it. 2 equals 2x plus 4. Subtract 4. Subtract 4. Negative 2 equals 2x. X equals negative 1. Boom. Then from there, like on all of them, you just take this answer, stick it back in somewhere. I'm going to choose there. And it'll tell me y equals negative 2 plus 1, negative 1. Y equals negative 1. There's all the kinds that you have to know for the test. Now, which one do you think you're weakest on? It's probably elimination, because that's the new thing for today. All right. Here's one last eliminate problem. And at first, when you look at it, it looks like nothing will eliminate. Please get on this page. We are almost done. That means you'll have work time. That means you'll have freedom. But stay with me. Mr. Nichols, do you see that nothing is going to cancel out nicely? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like if I look at these two, they're not going to just cancel, and these two aren't going to just cancel either. Who can think of something I could do so that it would? Yes?
Times x by negative 4.
All right, which of them, on the top one or the bottom one?
Bottom one.
If you times the bottom one, ooh, and you even said negative 4. Let me show you why he thought about that. If you multiply this by negative 4, this will become positive 4x. Do you get that would cancel a negative 4x? That's why you want to multiply everything by negative 4. And he is absolutely right. Now, I would save some time, and I would know that these come out opposite to that, and I would cancel them. Now here, I would do this in my head. 5 times 4 is 20. It is negative 20. And then I'd start rewriting it from here, because this is just too much to do in my head. So I'm going to copy this part down first. And then I'm going to copy this part down, but I'm going to do each part. That's negative 20y. That's positive 40, 14 is 12, 52. And I just screwed up. No, I think that's right. Double checking myself. Okay. Then these two go together, negative 35y, and these two go together. I have no idea. I can do it, but you'd have a calculator, so I'll use one too. What is 52 minus 17?
52 minus 17 is 35.
Ooh, 35. That worked out nice. Now, I could also said negative 17 plus 52, and it would have also come out to 35. And then I divide both sides by negative 35. And y equals negative 1. And as always, I take that, go stick it back up in one of the other equations. But I hope you get the idea. Now, I am not dumb enough to think that you are all set and ready. The challenging part is that multiplying the equation thing. So we're going to do like 2 more. We aren't even going to do the whole problem. We're just going to do the first step. If you do the first step right, these are easy. So don't copy this down. I almost never say that, but don't copy this down. X plus y equals 8. And 2x minus y equals 12. Is this one set up so it's something we'll eliminate? Yeah. So I wouldn't have to really do anything. I would just be able to add them straight down. This would be 3x, and those go together, and don't overthink it. They both are positive. Type exactly what you'd see on a calculator. Plus 8 plus 12. Oh, it's 20. And then you divide both sides by 3, and it would work. Cool. But that's typically not how most of your test questions will be. We might have one easy one where things will just eliminate. What it's more likely to be is like this. Now it's got things that don't cancel each other out nicely. Do you know the first step? Nothing's canceling. But if I do something, yes.
U times y by negative 2.
Yes, I'm doing the top one. If you wanted the bottom one, then I'm going to change it to the top one. Do you see why I did that? Because now it's positive 2y and negative 2y, and they'll cancel. All right. I'm going to give you another one that you need to figure out the first step. 4x minus 3y equals 12. And x minus y equals 1. Is that going to eliminate nice? Nope. What would be nice to have right here, and then I can just make that happen? What would you like to be right there?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. And do you get that means I just had to multiply everything by negative 4? You see what I'm saying? And see how these will cancel, and then I just have to combine things. Now, there's still some complication. You got to be careful. Like, that turns out to be positive 4y, negative 3y. And you got to think that through. Positive 4 and negative 3, that means positive 1y equals, and then what's that really? It's negative 4. Put that with a 12. That's really like subtracting 12 minus the 4, so it'd be 8. Geez, that was fast. Y equals 8. That's what's cool about elimination is you solve it so fast once you figure out how to do it. All right, so last one. Last melon. 6x minus 2y equals 10. And 3x minus 3y equals 15. I don't even need you to solve it. I need you to tell me what to do to make it so it'll eliminate. Okay, copy this one down. In the past, I said don't copy this one. Copy it. Copy it down. We're just going to do one thing to either the top or the bottom, and it'll be solved. It'll pretty much be done as long as we go, oh, I just have to multiply this by this. If you're struggling, focus on these two and ask yourself, what could you multiply the bottom one by so that they would eliminate? Daniel, what do you think we should multiply the bottom by?
-2.
You are correct. Because that'll make it -6, and that's the opposite of +6, and so they'll eliminate. But you gotta multiply everything by -2. The cool part is those two do cancel. I don't need to do any more work there. If I were you, I probably wouldn't have copied this down exactly, but I'm doing it because I'm the teacher and I'm supposed to set a good example. And the 3 times the 2 makes 6, and they're both negative, so that cancels and it makes +6y. 15 times 2 is 30, -30. Remember, we're not adding or subtracting, combining. Kieran, when we combine these two, the -2y and the +6y, what do you think we get? What? I heard a single number, but it's got a variable. 4y, there we go, equals, and then these together, -20, I think. All right, divide by 4, divide by 4, y equals -5. And you know you got to take that, stick it back in one of your equations. Let's not even do that because I think you know how to do that. Okay, cool. That's a review of a lot of stuff from this chapter. Then we teach you about how to make these into like word problems, okay? And eventually, near the end of the week, we get tested on this stuff. Worst case scenario, you don't know it, you can always take a retake. But let's see if on this test you can avoid, I would love my dream world would be, I dream of a day when I give a test and everybody does well enough that nobody has to do a retake. All right, so let's get to the homework for today. Everybody look back in Schoology and you will find, seek and you shall find. I think it's a Schoology quiz, but I'm not positive. Can you tell me?
Yes.
It's a Schoology quiz? Okay, thank you. Would you read me number 1?
X plus 2y equals 10.
Thank you. Keep going.
X plus y equals 6.
Now, right off the bat, kids that are new at this might think that the x's eliminate. They don't. Until you do something.
Times it by -1.
Times it by -1. And you have to times everything by -1. And I am fine with you just putting a negative on all of them. That's fine. As long as you do it to all of them. And these cancel. Chloe Steincross, can you tell me what happens with this 2y and the -y? Becomes y. Very good. And the 10 minus the 6 is 4. And, ooh, I'm almost done. Y equals 4. But, Dylan, you know what to do? Dylan Osberg?
Yeah. Then you plug it back in.
All right, I'm going to put it into the top one. That one feels easiest to me. You could put it either spot, but that's where I'm going to put it. And I now have x plus 2 times 4 is 8 equals 10. And I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And x equals 2. And then I need to know, do they tell you how to enter this answer? Because it's 2 and it's 4. Do they have like an x equals and a y equals? Or do they have...
Point.
It's a point. Do they like have blanks with a comma or something?
It's parentheses number, parentheses x, comma y.
Okay, all right. So does that imply they want you to type the parentheses or not?
Yes, it tells you to.
Okay, excellent. So then I'll type parentheses 2 comma 4 parentheses. All right. Now I get this is pretty intense algebra. If there was part of this that you didn't understand, please come on up during the work time. Ask me. I'll work through a problem with you. We'll get this together. That's all I got for you for the video for today.